Hello, everybody, and welcome to Sports Hits with cwit. Happy to have you guys here today. Got a great show planned for you today, so stick around because it's going to be a great one here today. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at Steel City Sport 4. Again, that is Steel City Sport 4 to get up the news on your sports. So let's get started, but first, hit that music. And welcome back to Sports Hits with cwit. We're gonna get started here today with a big trade that just happened on what was that? Tuesday night. Tuesday night, this trade happened. Jalen Ramsey is heading to Los Angeles for heading to the Rams, and the Rams gave up a 2020 first round pick, 2021 first, and a 2021 fourth round pick. My thoughts on the trade is, I think this is telling you the Rams are all in. They don't give a damn about all these critics, what they're saying about their team. They don't care. They're just gonna go out and trade for maybe even the best quarterback in the league. They're going all in. They got the team to do it. They got a good coach, but is he running out of stuff? Because it seems like the offense to me, and it seems like Robert Saleh read his mind. They couldn't produce anything, and they're back at 500 in the hardest division in the NFL. Do I like to move? 50-50. Part of me says this could get the Rams over the hump because their corners have been atrocious. Let's be honest. They gave up 54 points to the Buccaneers. How the hell do you give up 54 points to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with Jameis Winston, who just threw 5 interceptions against the Carolina Panthers? Nonetheless, part of me likes it because you get a talent like Jalen Ramsey on your team. That's why they went out and got him, because of his lockdown ability and what this guy could do. He's good, don't get me wrong. He's real good. He's a trash talker. He's going to do whatever he wants to help the team. If you don't like it, go somewhere else. This guy doesn't care. Is he obnoxious? Yes. Yes. He is obnoxious. Is he going to be a loud mouth? Yes. Is he going to lock down your wide receiver? Probably. Well, you look at the Rams offense. You see Jared Goff. I brought this point up I think it was maybe a couple months ago, but I was doing a podcast on Sportscaster. If you haven't checked out my Sportscaster, that's cwitty34 down there on the app Sportscaster on the App Store, or go to sportscaster.com to get started today and look up cwitty34. You can watch all my past podcasts. They're bangers, but I moved here to Anchor for a bigger life. But I said this on a podcast when I was talking about, I compared Tomlin to every head coach. And I compared Ben to every quarterback in the league. And I compared Ben Roethlisberger, a future first ballot Hall of Famer, to Jared Goff. And you look at the two and you say, from last year, you sure as hell would choose Jared Goff. But here's the thing where I might have you. Jared Goff's a good talent, but can he lead his team? I mean, you look at the Rams playoff last year. They played a delusional Dallas Cowboys team. They had problems all over the place. Their offensive coordinator wasn't doing anything. It wasn't Kellen Moore, I tell you that. So they got the first round bye. They didn't play in the wild card. They got the Cowboys at home. They won that game 30-22. And then they traveled to the big one, the NFC Championship versus New Orleans Saints, And you could say one bad call, Rams lose that game. But I'm going to say this multiple times about this game when I go back on it every single time. You look at that game, you could say the Saints had them. They had them for sure. But you look at that pass interference call, and you know it's a pass interference. The guy ran right at him, he wasn't even looking at the ball. I'm not going to say mistakes happen because it can't happen if you're judging the NFC Championship game at that high of a level and you miss that easy of a call. But they could have ran the clock out if they got that call. They settled for 3 and let the Rams drive down and kick the tying field goal. Then Drew Brees got the ball back in overtime. And what did he do? He didn't take advantage of the opportunity. He didn't take advantage. He threw a pick. If he would have drove his team right down to the end zone, would this have been so much talk about that pass interference call? No. No, there would not be. There would still be talking. It would still be on every news story after the game was over. The next day, it would still be talking about it, but it wouldn't be as big as it is. It wouldn't change the rules. It wouldn't change the rules where you could challenge pass interference now. It wouldn't change that. All I'm saying is, Drew Brees had an opportunity to win that game like great ones do. You really think, I'll give you a few examples. If Tom Brady got that ball in overtime, he was given a quote-unquote second opportunity to win the game. Would Tom Brady have capitalized? Hell yes. Tom Brady is the greatest football player of all time. And I'm saying this as from a Steelers fan perspective. I don't know. Drew Brees is a Hall of Famer, don't get me wrong. But because he has the most passing yards, that maybe put him in the Hall of Fame. Because you look at, he only has one Super Bowl. He only has one Super Bowl. And he's had multiple years where he's gone under 500. Multiple years. He's good, don't get me wrong. He'll be in the Hall of Fame. Is Nick Foles going to be in the Hall of Fame because he only got one Super Bowl? No. The yards count. The yards got him in the Hall of Fame. But if you're going by Super Bowl wise, then you can't. If you're going from Super Bowl wise, that's it. If they win a Super Bowl, they're in the Hall of Fame. And you're putting Drew Brees in the Hall of Fame because Drew Brees has only won one Super Bowl. Then why is it Nick Foles in the Hall of Fame? Huh? Joe Flacco. Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is going to be a Hall of Famer. Brad Johnson. Could go on and on. Len Dawson. Doug Williams. All these guys that have one Super Bowl, and you put them in the Hall of Fame, and you put Drew Brees over him. And I'm not saying Drew Brees is a horrible player. He has the most passing yards. I'm not going to say that. He's a great player. But he had an opportunity to close out that game, which great ones would do. Great ones would do. You think Montana would even put up 3 that game? That game would be over if Montana was playing these days. Brady goes in, he's scoring right there. Even Rodgers, you could say. He goes in, he leads the scoring drive. Russell Wilson, Peyton Manning, Eli Manning, both of the Mannings. I wouldn't say it's all Drew Brees' fault, but it wouldn't have been this much quote-unquote talk if he didn't throw an interception in overtime. It still was a horrible call, don't get me wrong. Nonetheless, I kind of got a little off topic there, but whatever. I was talking about Jared Goff. Jared Goff's a good player, but what did he do in the playoffs? I mean, yeah, he did well, but he beat the Cowboys. Cowboys are struggling. He beat the Saints on a lucky call that went the Rams' way on a game-winning field goal, and then he had the biggest game of his life, and he laid an egg because he played a real defense. A real defense, which is why Bill Belichick is the greatest head coach of all time. A rookie quarterback is 0-22 against Bill Belichick. 0-22 in the Bill Belichick era. You've got to be kidding me. It is unbelievable. So going back to my point, when you say Jared Goff's better than Ben, I want you to look at that a couple times. Clearly, Jared Goff, if you were playing for the future, Jared Goff's a better option. But if you're going for 1 year right now, both QBs are fully healthy, ready to play another year. And you look at both of them. They both got size. They got good arms, good accuracy. But would you choose a 24-year-old quarterback over a 37-year-old quarterback who's had 2 Super Bowls and is going to be a Hall of Famer? Why in the hell would you choose Jared Goff in this situation? Oh, because he's younger and he can develop. He's not going to develop to Ben Roethlisberger even in 1 year, god dang. He's not. To win the Super Bowl, what does this all start with? You got to have a good quarterback, good head coach, and good defense. You look at the Super Bowls the past couple of years. Let's look at them. Patriots won last year. You already know who they have. Eagles won with Nick Foles. He's fairly young, but he's also 30, so you can't say he's old. Patriots won it in 17. Broncos won it in 16 with Peyton Manning as his last year. Patriots won in 15. Seahawks won in 14. This might be the only exception, and because it's Russell Wilson, I'm going to let it have an exception. Baltimore Ravens won in 13. They had Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco, he's pretty old. Super Bowl MVP. Eli Manning won it in 12. Rodgers won in 11. New Orleans Saints and Drew Brees, which I just talked about. My Pittsburgh Steelers won it in 09. Giants won in 08. Colts won in 07. Steelers won in 06, and then Patriots, and then, the Patriots, basically. But you look at these Super Bowl runs. Is Tom Brady a rookie? Is he a second-year, maybe even fifth-year player? No, not in this situation. Is Nick Foles a second-year, third-year player? They're putting a lot of trust in Jared Goff in this trade. A lot of trust. Is Ramsey going to get him over the hump? I don't think defensive players can get people over the hump, especially being a DB. I mean, if you went out and trade for Khalil Mack and he gets you, 15 sacks a year, then that could get you over the hump. But a guy that his only job is for getting interceptions and locking up guys, good receivers, it's so hard to be a DB. There's great ones, but there's no unstoppable one. They're gonna let up catches. They're gonna let up big plays. You just gotta limit that, and that's the hardest thing about being a DB. You're gonna let up stuff happen. You're gonna let up stuff. But I don't know if a corner could really get them over the hump. They have the QB, who I'm questioning. A big year for Jared Goff. He just got that contract extension. He's been okay, but he's not been great. He's just kind of been there. I mean, all he has to do is give it to his playmakers in space and let them do the work. But we'll see what Jared Goff can do and the Ramsey can do down there in LA. But I'm kind of 50-50 on this trade. Come back to me in a month, and I'll tell you if I like this trade. So going from LA back to Pittsburgh, my hometown team, the Pittsburgh Steelers, Art Rooney III, and Mike Tomlin himself has just cleared Mason Rudolph from the concussion protocol, and he will be set to play against the Miami Dolphins next Sunday in Miami, if I'm not mistaken. Don't fact check me on this one. But what do I think about this? I think I mean, we all know Mason's injury was scary. No one's going to doubt that. No one's going to say that it wasn't scary. We were all scared to death. Luckily, he was up and he's walking on his own pace with a little bit of assistance. What does this mean for the Steelers? You go back to airing the ball out. Duck Hodges was good. I like Duck. But you look at that game, you watch the film on that game, Duck Hodges wasn't asked to make a lot of throws. He threw it 18, maybe even 20 times. He didn't get Juju involved. Half of his throws were just dump offs to Connor in the backfield. That's why Connor had 7 receptions in that game. They wanted to utilize Dirty 30. I like Hodges because he won us the game. But if all these people online saying, "Oh, stick with Duck," no. Rudolph's our guy. Rudolph can sling it. Rudolph is the best option we have to number 7 as possible. We want another Hall of Fame quarterback. Don't at me. We want one. Rudolph is the closest thing we have to Ben, and if you don't tell me Ben hasn't been working out in his career in Pittsburgh, then you got to fact check you on that one. These 2 Super Bowls. The bye week is for the Steelers at this week. Most of the players will be going Florida, LA, even maybe. We'll see where they go, but we'll see their Instagram pictures after. But you look at the bye week, and it came at a good time. The Steelers have been dealing with injuries lately, and it just seemed the right time at the season. We're 2-4 now. We got the Miami Dolphins, not this week, but next week we got the Dolphins. And you could say that's even a bye week themselves, as the Redskins did beat them this week. We'll get to that in a little bit. But they had injuries. They did. They had Chicolo hurt. They had Mark Barron hurt. Joe Hayden was hurt. Steven Nelson was hurt. Tuitt just went on IR. That's going to cost Steelers a lot, but we'll see what happens. Joe Hayden was hurt. TJ Watt got a little banged up. Obviously, Rudolph got hurt. Samuels got hurt. James Washington got hurt. So it came at a nice time for those guys to, get a week extra and try and recover. It's a good time for the Steelers. They're 2 games back. Baltimore hasn't even played Seattle yet. They haven't played the 49ers yet. They haven't played New England yet. And the Steelers are 2 games back, and they already played all 3 of those teams. First 3 weeks of the year. Pittsburgh's in a good spot. Cleveland's a mess. We don't know what's going on with the Browns. And then the Bengals are just a bigger mess in Cleveland, which I can't understand. We're going to take a short break. We're going to come back. I'm going to give you some fantasy advice and later get into some NBA preview. Here on Sports Hits with cwit. And welcome back to Sports Hits with cwit. I'm your host, Colin Woody, and I'm going to give you a couple guys who I think you should, get away from for fantasy football. Obviously, you're kind of in the make or to break it part of your season. Playoffs only in week 13 if you have a 2-week playoff period. But if not, you're still in the make or break period, and I'm going to try and help you guys out for a little bit. So I'm going to give you a couple names here who I think you should trade for and I think you should get rid of. So I'm going to say you should trade for is Josh Jacobs. They utilize this guy a lot. I doubted Gruden. I thought Jalen Richard would sure be the starter this year even after watching Hard Knocks and Gruden saying how much he loved this kid. He wasn't lying. I mean, he did say he loved Keelan Doss, and then he cut him the next week. But nonetheless, Josh Jacobs is a great player. He's a good runner. He's a downhill runner. He's elusive, and he's got a little power to him. And the most important part for fantasy, even PPR leagues, he can catch the ball, which is a double win if you ask me. It's more of a wide receiver who can run the ball. So trade for Josh Jacobs immediately. They're going to be asking a lot, but if they're asking a lot, say Look at his numbers last week because he was on a bye last week. Maybe that'll convince him a little bit. But he hasn't done that good. But you look at their schedule, and they've got some favorable matchups coming up that Josh Jacobs, could get valuable numbers for and even, break the top 5 in running backs this season. But we'll see what you guys could do. There's a lot of names you could go after, a lot of low ball names. Tevin Coleman, I'll give you one real quick. They're utilizing both running backs in the offense. They're running the ball most in NFL history. But we'll see what they can do. A guy you should get rid of, and I know you're going to look at this guy and you're going to say, he got 43 points last week. Why would I get rid of him? And that guy is Stephon Diggs. And I'm going to give you 2 words why I think you should trade for Stephon Diggs. 2 words for you. Trade bait. Trade bait. I know everyone in your league was all doubting him, and you kept on to him. You were ballsy. You kept on to that man, and you got rewarded with 43 points, but likely you did not start him. And I know after he got that 43-point outing, teams are running to your left and right saying, oh, can I have that guy? Can I have that guy? Be ballsy for once, because to be honest, the Eagles secondary was so bad in that game. They made Stephon Diggs, a struggling Stephon Diggs, look like a top 2 receiver in this league. And believe me, he's got a good talent, but he's not that good. He's top 15, I would say. Top 10, maybe. If you need a wide receiver, keep him, I would say, but maybe even if you guys know about this, but if you guys don't know about this, I'll tell you why. But if you can get a guy who's trade bait like Stephon Diggs, you could get value for him. I'm going to give you a Stephon Diggs trade partner. You get rid of Stephon Diggs. You give me a running back that you guys need, maybe a quarterback, maybe a tight end, but you could stream tight end so easily in fantasy that you don't really need a talent tight end at this point, but we'll see what happens. I'll give you Diggs. You give me a RB2 running back, maybe even an RB run if you really want to push it. Chris Carson is one of them. Devontae Freeman's kind of finding his stride. We'll see what you can do. And obviously, if this guy's in your league, you got to get him. Stephon Diggs for running back number 2 and AJ Green. AJ Green was hurt all these weeks, but he's coming back, and he's now questionable for the upcoming game. I think he's going to miss it, though. I have AJ Green in my one league. I got him in like the 7th or 6th round, and I thought that was the steal to draft. It's still AJ Green. It's still him. Just because he has a bad ankle doesn't mean he's going to be bad all of a sudden. It's still AJ Green. I know you're looking at Cincinnati, and I know you're thinking they're a mess, but excuse me. I know you're looking at Cincinnati, and I know you're thinking they're a mess, but they get down so much in these games. They don't care about giving it to Joe Mixon anymore. They want to pass it. See what they have in this new pass game with head coach Zach Taylor and the new quote-unquote Sean McVay of the NFL. They want to pass it. They want to see what this guy can do. And I'm really excited to see what Zach Taylor can do with AJ Green and a high talent that he is. Andy Dalton can get this guy to bat the ball. Don't get me wrong. I hate on Andy Dalton almost every day of my life. But Andy Dalton knows how to get AJ Green the ball. Whether it's a throw it up, a screen, a curl, an out, or an in. He knows how to get him the ball. You can't talk about Andy Dalton not getting his playmakers the ball. You could get AJ Green and the RB2 for Stephon Diggs. Do it. Another player I think you should trade for because he's been, let's say, underperforming, but I think he'll find his stride in the upcoming weeks. Trade for Travis Kelce. If he wants high talent for him, don't do it. But if he's offering maybe a couple bench guys, maybe even a low-key starter, but trade for Travis Kelce. He's still Travis Kelce. Mahomes hasn't been healthy, but I think He'll be resting after this Thursday night game tonight. They haven't really gotten Kelsey the ball. He hasn't been targeting him a lot, but the touches will come. The touches will come. He's looked a little raggedy out there, but the touches will come. And like I said earlier, it's so easy to stream tight end. So if Kelsey doesn't work out, stream a tight end on the waiver wire every single week. Guys, get rid of Zach Ertz. Whether it's a trade, trade him. I don't like this Philly two tight end look that they have down there in Philadelphia. I'm not a fan of it because most of the time Zach Ertz will be covered by a corner and a safety, and then they'll leave Dallas Goedert right over the middle. And most of the times, if you guys didn't notice, when you're the second tight end coming into the game, you're more likely running the best route, the better route than the number one tight end. So I think you could get a little. I mean, if you want to wait for Zach Ertz to have a boom game where he gives you 25 or something, then trade him, that's fine. But I still think you could get value out of this, guys, because people think they need tight ends, but you can stream a tight end, like I said a couple minutes ago. You can stream a tight end so easily in fantasy these days. It's unbelievable. Speaking of rumors, I don't know if this is fake news or what it is, but I just saw on Instagram the other day that the Steelers are interested in Cam Newton, Ace Boogie. My response to this, hell no. No, 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 no. Hell no. This guy can't even start over Kyle Allen. Why do you think he would start over Mason Rudolph? Plus, Ben's coming back in 2020. So what are we going to do if we have two quarterbacks combining for $50 million? Ben with 30, Cam with 20. That's 50. $50 million in the backfield. Cam's not getting any younger. It's not like he's 24 in his prime. He's 29, 30 years old. And he can't even start over Kyle Allen, for gosh sake. I don't know if that was a troll, though. We'll see. So, no. Don't trade for Cam Newton any sort of way. Let's talk a little college football. As you may know, I am a Michigan Wolverine fan, and my boys are traveling to Beaver Stadium this weekend to cancel the whiteout. We're canceling the whiteout. Harbaugh came out with a statement the other day that Michigan will be wearing all white versus Penn State because a whiteout is planned and Michigan's there to destroy it. Don't you love that? That got me fired up. I was thinking I was going to play in that game. I thought I was getting a speech from Jim Harbaugh. I mean, my goodness. I'm excited to see this game. Penn State just came off the big win versus Iowa on the road, which is key. But you could say Michigan's maybe found their stride. Obviously, the boo-boo versus Wisconsin, but Wisconsin's number 6 in the country for a reason, folks. They're number 6 in the country for a reason. The game plan. Pound it with Charbonnet. Excuse me. I don't know why I said Higdon. Pound it with Higdon. You'll get these. They'll have to bring the safety up. You'll get this deep safety in, and then you start taking shots with your 3 playmakers in Donovan Peoples-Jones, Nico Collins, and Tariq Black. Certainly get Charbonnet involved. Get that O-line involved. But when they bring up that safety, don't be afraid to take a shot, Ross Gaddis. Penn State's going to come out firing. They want to blow them out, let's be honest. Michigan blew them out at home last year. Penn State, this is their own revenge tour. But this Penn State team, I don't know if they're that impressive. They only won by 7 to Pitt. Pitt's a good program. Pat Narduzzi doing a good job down there. But they're not great. And for being number, 7 in the country, if I'm not mistaken, I'm excited to see this game. I want to see what Michigan's made of. Is Harbaugh a legit coach? Because if you say Harbaugh wins this game and you say he still should be fired, then why the hell wouldn't you say James Franklin should be fired. This guy ran the ball on 4th and 8. Versus Ohio State, biggest game of the year. He ran it to Miles Sanders up the middle. Chase Young got that stuff. 4th and 8. Game on the line. He ran a draw. Freddie Kitchens, where are you when you need him? Sheesh. I'm excited to see this game. Go Blue. I'm going to take a short break. Come back with an NBA preview here on Sports Hits with cwit. And welcome back to Sports Hits with cwit. We're going to preview the NBA. I'm going to go through every NBA team that there is, and I'm going to tell you what I'm thinking about this team. Playoff contender or tank. So I'm going to go in alphabetical order, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about this team, what I think and expect from them this year. So from alphabetical order, that means the Atlanta Hawks will be the first team I would talk about. Atlanta Hawks, they got a good start to the future. Obviously, the ageless one, Vince Carter, was splashing last night in Madison Square Garden. Seemed like no one could stop him. Looked like prime Vince. But the Hawks have a good start, and they got, you could say, a big three. They got Trae Young. They've got DeAndre Hunter. Well, they have a big four, actually. John Collins, Cam Reddish, and you could even put in Kevin Huerter if you want to, who I think is the next Klay Thompson. He's 6'7", 190, built like Klay, shoots the ball really well. But you look at this team, they got 6'2" point guard Trae Young. He was backup rookie of the year last year. Hopefully he can develop size, quickness, more ways to get open. But we'll see what this Hawks team can do. Cam Reddish, I liked him coming out of college. I don't know if he's the best prospect to work with. I mean, this guy's execution is horrible, and his ceiling's Paul George, but his floor is like, I can't even think of this guy's floor. But we'll see what the Hawks can do with Cam Reddish and see if they can, potentially build him into a Paul George. DeAndre Hunter was good at Virginia, He won a national championship there. Kevin Huerter, I just said, reminds me of Klay Thompson a little bit. And John Collins is off to a pretty good start in his NBA career. This team is young. They got talent, but they're not making the playoffs this year. They're not going to touch them. They'll be 10th in the Eastern Conference. Moving on, we'll go to the second team, the Boston Celtics. Boston Celtics saying goodbye to two of their better players this offseason. Indeed, that is Kyrie Irving and Al Horford. But they did sign Kemba Walker in free agency, the 6'1", 6 feet 1 inches, and 172-pound point guard. He signed over from Charlotte. He's a good player. He's a good playmaker. Obviously, they got Jason Tatum coming back. They have Marcus Smart coming back. Romeo Langford they drafted. Enes Kanter signed a deal. They got Jaylen Brown, Carson Edwards in the draft. Gordon Hayward coming back on that $30 million deal. Grant Williams they got in the draft. And Robert Williams they got in last year's draft. But the best player on this team, Taco Fall. This guy is a threat to score anytime he's on the court. Let me tell you about Taco Fall. Nonetheless, Celtics are good. They'll be like a 5 or 6 seed. And I don't think this team's a little reminds me of the Hawks. They got young players, obviously, and Jaylen Brown, who's still kind of developing. But he might have hit his ceiling. We don't know what we're going to get from him. Gordon Hayward, he's okay. Enes Kanter is good 1-year deal guy, but I don't know if they signed him for a year. Marcus Smart's good. He's a good defender. He can shoot the ball. That's all you can ask for. Romeo Langford's a good project to work with. He reminds me a little bit of Jaylen Brown, who is on this team, by the way. He can shoot the ball. He's a playmaker. He's a scorer. He's 6'6", 216. We'll see what Romeo Langford can do production-wise this year. Jason Tatum, I talked about. This guy has high potential, but his ceiling is his floor is really low. He's still raw, very raw. actually. But we'll see the Celtics team can do. Eager to get back to the playoffs after losing to, let's just say, LeBron James a couple years ago in that 7-game series versus Cleveland. Moving on, we got the Brooklyn Nets. Obviously, the Nets made a couple quote-unquote splash moves this summer. They got, obviously, Kyrie Irving, and they did get the snake himself, Kevin Durant. They got DeAndre Jordan on what? I think it was a 1-year deal. But this team is highly high expectations, excuse me. But they're not going to be very good this year. Obviously, Kevin Durant's still coming back from that torn Achilles suffered in Game 5 versus the Raptors. Kyrie Irving's going to be asked to carry this team to maybe even an 8 seed. He couldn't do that in Boston, so I don't know what you guys are thinking. If you guys thinking you're going to make the playoffs this year when he couldn't do it in Boston, who has a better team? If you guys, Jared Allen's a good center. He's 6'10", 234. He's a good project to work with. Maybe DeAndre Jordan can mentor him. Similar size, can't shoot the ball, rebounder and play kind of guy. Spencer Dinwiddie is going to be a big key in this on this team. He's going to be a six man probably. He's a 6'6", 205 point guard who can handle the ball and playmaker if you ask him to. Kevin Durant, you all know about Kevin Durant. Joe Harris is a good shooter. He's from Virginia. Karis LeVert is a good playmaker, and he's actually from Michigan, which is nice. Good to see the Wolverines producing in the NBA. But this team, I'm expecting, if they're thinking playoff spots, they're going to be a 7 seed. If they're not thinking, they're going to be like the 10th seed. If KD's going to come back in 2020, and then this team is a legitimate top 5 playoff seed team. But with this weak Eastern Conference, we'll see what this team can do. The Charlotte Hornets are, I nicknamed them Mr. Team Irrelevant. You look at this roster and they don't wow you. Obviously, they signed Terry Rozier. I think it was a 3-year, $44 million contract. Okay signing. Malik Monk's coming back for another year. Obviously, he's a highly talented guard from Kentucky. Can shoot the ball, can play make. We'll see what this guy can do. They got the Martin twins from Nevada, Cody and Caleb. Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, not going to talk about him. Devontae Graham, Miles Bridges. Okay roster. 11th or 12th seed. Chicago Bulls, the 6-time NBA champions, all because of one man only. You could say two people. Two people only, Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. Let's see what this team can do. I kind of relate this team back to the Hawks. They're young. They got talent, but they still need to develop. Young talent include Wendell Carter Jr., they have Zach LaVine, who's coming off a pretty good year. Otto Porter Jr., Lauri Markkanen, Kobe White they just got in the draft, who has some fire hair. And they just signed Chris Dunn, I'm going to add to that list. And they just signed, and I think waived Luol Deng here. He retired as a Bull. Maybe even a future Hall of Famer, but Luol Deng is very big in that Chicago Bulls organization, what he did for that team, trying to lead them to a playoff spot. But the Bulls they won't be a playoff team, but they could be a fringe 8 and 9 seed if they find their stride at the middle of the year. My favorite team, the Cleveland Cavaliers, are coming into this new 2019 year with a new head coach, and that is indeed John Beilein. He coached at Michigan before. You probably know him the most for. But we'll see what this guy can do at the NBA level. They got a few nice pieces to work around. They got Jordan Clarkson, who's going to come off the bench and be a nice playmaker. Matthew Dellavedova, Delly, a Cavs legend back in the 2015 and 2016 runs. The rookie, Darius Garland Jr., whose ceiling reminds me a little bit of Damian Lillard. Pure playmaker, 6'2", 175. We'll see what he can do in his rookie year. Kevin Love coming back from injury and hopes to play up to his $30 million contract he signed last offseason with the team. Larry Nance is going to be a nice bench guy for this team. Pretty solid if you ask me. Jetty Osman will be a nice bench guy. Kevin Porter Jr., I really liked in this draft. A little raw, still needs to learn how to play, but when you put a playmaker with that high of a talent like Kevin Porter Jr. with a coach with John Beilein, who developed all those centers you think of. He developed Mo Wagner, Charles Matthews, all those guys at Michigan. I think he'll do pretty well with Kevin Porter Jr., even having more than 4 years to develop him, hoping that Beilein can stay the head coach for that long. They got Colin Sexton coming into his second year. He's going to be probably the two-guard on this team as they look for the more Trailblazers type of look with McCollum and Lillard, as Garland will probably play the one on this role as Sexton plays it two. They got Tristan Thompson down low, anchoring the middle, and they got Dylan Windler to come off the bench, a 6'8", 200-pound guard from Belmont who is big, and he can score from anywhere on the court. But this Cavs team, their ceiling's like a 6 seed. They're gonna, if their ceiling's gonna be what the Nets were last year, but their floor is probably like a 9 or even 8 seed. The Dallas Mavericks have traded for Kristaps Porzingis last trade deadline. Obviously, they got Luka coming back. Kristaps a good talent to work around. He looks fully healthy. We'll see what he can do. This team is weak, but they got Boban. But this team's weak either way. Tim Hardaway Jr. is probably going to be the two-guard on that team, with probably Jalen Brunson maybe even starting him. And Luka Doncic, obviously the rookie of the year last year. We'll see what him and Kristaps can do, but don't expect playoff expectations for that team. Denver Nuggets, you should be expecting playoff contention, playoff expectations for this team. They got the Joker and Jamal Murray. They got Michael Porter Jr. all healthy, hopefully. They got Paul Millsap, the stretch four. Bull they drafted, but I don't know if he's going to play a lot. Gary Harris is good two-guard on that team. This team is weak, but they're still kind of young. And you compare this team to any team in the East, and I just take any team over this team. I don't think Joker and Jamal can carry for this long, but we'll see this team can do. They should and probably will make the playoffs. Detroit Pistons, the playoffs haven't been the best for them, but they got a good young talent in Soka Doumbia in the draft. They got Andre Drummond coming back. Blake Griffin's coming back. They picked up Joe Johnson the other day. Luke Kennard coming back. Derrick Rose they signed in the offseason. Tony Snell, Thon Maker. Mekhi Luke from the Lakers is pretty good. He could splash a little bit, but don't expect big things from this Pistons team. The Golden State Warriors, I'm expecting championship run from this team. I think they got the roster to do it. Obviously, the MVP, Steph Curry, is a great player. Draymond Green, role player. They have Klay Thompson probably coming back for the All-Star break. Jordan Poole, the rookie from Michigan. Go Blue, by the way. He's probably going to get a lot of time. Reminds me a little bit of Klay Thompson. But Willie Cauley-Stein's a good player. Kevin Looney's a good player. Good role players for this Warriors team to lead behind Steph Curry himself. Expect big things from the Warriors this year. Houston Rockets, obviously, they made their big move this offseason, trading for the former MVP himself, Russell Westbrook. My thoughts on the move, I didn't think it was a great move for the future, but if this guy gets you a championship, then who cares about the future? But I don't know if James Harden and Russell Westbrook will be the best duo together. I mean, look at them. They both want to shoot 40 shots a game, and only one player can shoot at a time, boys, so you got to figure out themselves. But they got a good role player in PJ Tucker. Austin Rivers is a good role player. He could splash a little bit. And then the man, the myth, the legend, Nene is on that team. James Harden, former MVP himself. Gerald Green will likely be out for the year. I just saw that a couple of days ago from Woj. Aaron Gordon's a good role player. Tyson Chandler, Clint Capella, and Ryan Anderson to end it off. This team is going to be a playoff team, but it matters what happens in the playoffs with this team. The Indiana Pacers made a couple moves this offseason to boost their team. Obviously, they will probably be missing Victor Oladipo for likely, I don't know if it's most of the season. I haven't really paid attention to that. But they got some good guys this offseason. They got Gogo Bidsod in the draft. Sorry if I mispronounced that. Malcolm Brogdon was a big free agent signing. Jeremy Lamb was a free agent signing. TJ McConnell, nice role player. Domantas Sabonis, T.J. Warren, and Miles Turner. This team is so inexperienced. I don't think they can take down teams in the East, but we'll see what this team can do in Indiana. The most hyped up team coming into this year, besides the Lakers, will be who the Lakers shared a stadium with is the LA Clippers. Obviously, they signed Kawhi Leonard this offseason, who just brought a championship to Toronto. Looks to do the same with the Clippers. And then they traded out and got a MVP candidate last year in Paul George. Good three guy, can shoot and defend really well. Speaking of defense, the defensive player of the year a couple years ago, Patrick Beverley, will be running that offense. Well, defense, actually. They got JaMychal Green coming back. They got Montrezl Harrell coming back. Lou Williams probably likely maybe off the bench, but I'm not sure. Ivan Zubac, good bench guy. Doc Rivers, good head coach. We'll see what this Clippers team can do with championship expectations coming in, but they did lose one of their best players last year in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the highly talented guard last year. But I don't think they'll worry too much because they have Kawhi Leonard and Paul George himself. The most hyped up team, I would say, this offseason is indeed the Lakers themselves. Obviously, the acquisition of Anthony Davis, and for keeping Kyle Kuzma in that trade, likely better player of those guys who was in the trade talks at the trade deadline. It was a good move from the Lakers. They got Rondo commanding the middle. Good passer, obviously, with Anthony Davis on their team. Not going to have to do much. JaVale McGee, a good role player. Kyle Kuzma is a good three-point shooter. And then LeBron probably going to be playing point guard at that team. Dwight Howard's going to be on the bench. Anthony Davis, going to get him. Danny Green's a good fit next to LeBron, can shoot three-pointers. We'll see what he can do. Jared Dudley, he'll be good once they play the 76ers. Maybe that will be in the NBA Finals, but we'll see what he can do against him. Good three-point shooter off the bench. DeMarcus Cousins towards ACL. Quinn Cook off the bench. Good three-point shooter, pretty good defender. And then Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, we'll see what he can do as well. This Lakers team, I'm looking for NBA Finals expectations this year. We'll see what happens. Memphis Grizzlies, obviously, they drafted Ja Morant this offseason. Good pair with Jonas Valanciunas and Jaren Jackson Jr. Couple acquisitions. They got Grayson Allen. They have moved on from Mike Conley. They traded him to the Utah Jazz, who we'll get to in a little bit. Jay Crowder was a part of that deal. He's a good defender. Andre Iguodala will bring experience in the veteran presence in that locker room. But we'll see what he could do. He's getting up there in age, but he's still a great player. Maybe a Hall of Famer because he won that Finals MVP. Josh Jackson is a project at this point. Obviously, he was very good out of college in Kansas, but we'll see what he can do. Jaren Jackson's a good player. Joan Valanciunas, they traded him for Marc Gasol. He's not the best center. He's kind of more of a role-playing center, but we'll see what he can do. Don't expect playoff expectations from this team. You could probably expect playoff expectations from this team as they acquired Jimmy Butler in the offseason, as I am talking about the Miami Heat themselves. They moved on from Dwayne Wade, a Hall of Famer for sure, but they do have Udonis Haslem, the 6'8", 235 pounds power forward. They got Bam Adebayo, anchoring the middle and the center. Jimmy Butler's a good two-way player, pretty good defender, good playmaker. Goran Dragic is a pretty good guard. We'll see what he can do. The highly talented rookie Tyler Hero is on the Heat. He had a good preseason game the other day. He can shoot the ball. He's a good playmaker. We'll see. He's going to be a big part of this offense this year. We'll see what he can do. Duncan Robinson, Dion Waiters, and Justin Winslow hanging around the bench. You could probably expect an 8 seed from this team. We'll see what this team can do. We'll move to the Milwaukee Bucks. The Milwaukee Bucks were beat by the Raptors in the Eastern Conference Finals. Obviously, they have Giannis, the reigning MVP. Eric Bledsoe's a pretty good player. They got Kyle Korver, who will help this team play. good shooter off the bench. Brook Lopez signed a favorable contract this past offseason. George Hill coming back. Ilyasova, Dante DiVincenzo, we'll see what he can do. Chris Middleton just got the max this offseason. This team, it should be a playoff team, might even be an NBA final team contender, but we'll see what they can do. Minnesota Timberwolves will move on to the 500 basketball squad. Kyle Towns was an all-star last year. Jeff Teague at point guard. Andrew Wiggins, if he could develop, he'd be great. They traded up and got Jarrett Culver in the draft, and they also got Jordan Bell and Tyus Battle from Syracuse. The trade last year for Jimmy Butler, they acquired Robert Covington from Philadelphia. We'll see what he could do. He's a good three-point shooter off the bench, but I don't expect playoff implications from this team. The Pelicans, most hyped up team besides the Lakers in the offseason because of that trade. They got Lonzo Ball. They got Josh Hart, Jackson Hayes, Brandon Ingram, Drew Holiday, and the myth, Zion Williamson. JJ Redick, good signing in the offseason. Veteran presence in that locker room. We'll see what he can do. Lonzo Ball is a big prove-it kind of guy. He hasn't proved that he's gotten hurt the past couple of years. We'll see what he can do. Don't expect Don't expect a playoff team from this year. I don't think they're ready to play yet. They may be an 8 seed at best. The New York Knicks, the always relevant New York Knicks, they have drafted R.J. Barrett after they missed out on Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving as they went across the river. I just said river. Across the coast to go play in Brooklyn. They got Ignas Brazdeikis, the 6'7", 216-pound forward from Michigan, is a beast. Wayne Ellington's a good shooter. Taj Gibson, Kevin Knox, pretty good player. Marcus Morris, signed in free agency. Frank Ntilikina, good defender. That's pretty much it. Bobby Portis and Julius Randle, kind of the two guys they spent most of their dough on this past offseason. Julius Randle, favorable deal. I think it was 4-year, $84 million deal. Favorable deal for Randle, who quietly deserves it at 6'9" and 250 pounds. This team ain't a playoff team, though, if I'm being real with you guys. The Oklahoma City Thunder, kind of rebuilding, you could say, but they're not going to call it rebuilding since they have Chris Paul, and he doesn't do a lot of rebuilds. Chris Paul will be the main guy on this team, but last year's rookie, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who I'm very high on this upcoming season. I'd love to see what he can do. He's 6'6", 180, good ball handler. Needs to develop an offensive game where we could see what he can do. Aquaman himself, Steven Adams, will be anchoring the center position. We'll see what he can do. He's a good role player. We'll see what he can do. Not going to talk about him much. Daniel Gallinari's gotten the trade for Paul George, good player, big size, 6'10", 225, can score from anywhere on the court. We'll see what this team can do. Not expecting big things from this team this year. We'll see. And even if they do make the playoffs, they're going to be out in the first round. The Magic, kind of irrelevant. Aaron Gordon, Markelle Fultz. For the Magic time, I'm just going to talk about Markelle Fultz. I think he's a great player. He was the number one pick for a reason, and he just had to fix his shot, and maybe he fixed it this past offseason. Well, we'll see what happens with him. Favorable deal they got from the 76ers, not giving up a lot of future for Markelle Fultz. It's a risk, but it could be a high-risk, high-reward type of play. We'll see what Markelle Fultz can do in his first fully healthy year, hopefully. Philadelphia 76ers themselves, to trust the process. They got Embiid back. Tobias Harris, they signed to the max. Al Horford, the big offseason signing for this team. Ben Simmons, who you could say developed a shot. Josh Richardson, a good playmaker. Matisse Thybulle, reminds me a little bit of Robert Covington. Zaire Smith, the most athletic man on the planet. This team will be good, but they lack depth. And in the NBA, you need a lot of depth to win. But this team will be a playoff team for sure, maybe even in the NBA Finals expectations for this team. Phoenix Sun, they have the two beasts, DeAndre Ayton and Devin Booker. The rest, Cameron Johnson you could look to, Kelly Oubre, Ricky Rubio, Dario Saric, but not going to talk much about the Suns since they're irrelevant. Portland Trailblazers, they got Damian Lillard, and CJ McCullough coming back. Hassan Whiteside, who they acquired from the Heat, he's hurt, I think. I think it's an ankle sprain. Shouldn't be out that much. Nazir Little, they got him when he fell in the draft. Rodney Hood coming back. Moses Brown, Zach Collins, Pau Gasol, good vet. We'll see what this Blazers team can do after getting swept from the Warriors last year in the Western Conference Finals. Sacramento Kings, obviously, they have probably their two best players are, you could probably say, De'Aaron Fox and Buddy Hield are probably their two best players. De'Aaron Fox, I'm expecting big things from him this year. I think this guy will win an award sometime or less. We'll see what he can do this year. Not a playoff team if you ask me, though, but Marvin Bagley, big year for the Kings this year to see what they got out of that guy. He was the number 2 overall pick for a reason. Hasn't had the best rookie year, but we'll see what they can do. The Spurs seem like they're always kind of the 5th seed, and they always put up a good fight. LaMarcus Aldridge coming back for another year, a good player, all-star last year. DeMar DeRozan, obviously they acquired him in the Kawhi Leonard trade. Rudy Gay coming back. A lot of veterans on this team. The development of Lonnie Walker, the third, will be key here, but they got maybe even the GOAT, Greg Popovich. But we'll see what the Spurs can do. They'll be a consistent playoff team. The Raptors, the defending champs, they bring back Kyle Lowry, who signed a new deal this offseason a couple days ago. They got Rondé Hollis-Jefferson to try and replace Kawhi Leonard. They got Marc Gasol coming back, Serge Ibaka, Pascal Siakam, Fred VanVleet, who I would have thought should have been the MVP last year. We'll see what they can do. They should be a playoff team. But playoff Lowry isn't the best. The Utah Jazz, they went all in this offseason. Obviously, they've acquired quite a bit. They've acquired Mike Conley this offseason, Bojan Bogdanovic, Jeff Green, Rudy Gobert's coming back, Joe Ingles, Donovan Mitchell, Emmanuel Mudiay. But we'll see what this team can do. Hopefully a playoff team. And hopefully Donovan Mitchell can go back to what Donovan Mitchell did last year, but they got swept. Or maybe they took one game from the Rockets last year. Kind of irrelevant, if you ask me. But maybe the most irrelevant team in the NBA, the Washington Wizards, they just signed Bradley Beal to a massive deal, $72 million for 2 years, has a chance to be over $200 million. He's a good player, but I don't know if you're spending all that money in Bradley Beal and you're paying John Wall $40 million a year. I don't know if that's the best decision from the front office. They got Isaiah Thomas on a cheap veteran deal. They got Mo Wagner from the Lakers trade with the Pelicans. They got Rui Hachimura in the draft. They got Isaac Bonga. They got Thomas Bryant, Troy Brown Jr. This team is not going to be a playoff team. So that wraps up my NBA preview. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back with game picks and hot takes at the end here on Sports Hits with cwit. Welcome back to Sports Hits with cwit. Let's get into some game picks before we wrap up this podcast. Chiefs vs. Broncos. I have the Chiefs winning this game, 27-14 in Denver. Patrick Mahomes is a playmaker, and I think he'll get his playmakers the ball, and Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. I don't think the Denver defense and Vic Fangio can keep up with him. I think the Chiefs win this game pretty handily, 27-14. The Raiders and Packers, I have the Packers winning this game. I think the Packers got a bit of confidence booster last week as they had one fell right in their laps. I think the Packers have good offense, good explosive offense, and they got the best defense in the past 15 years. We'll see what this Packers team can do. And then the Raiders, well, they're 3-2 if you look at it, but they're okay. We'll see what they can do against a real competition in the Packers. Knock on wood if you're with me. I have the Packers winning this game, 31-21 though. Rams and Falcons, I have the Rams winning this game. Bit of a bounce-backer win, obviously in that tough division. I had them winning this game 38-35. The Falcons continue to struggle. Rams kind of find their groove. find their identity, you could say, with being held to 7 points by Robert Saleh last week in the 49ers. But I had them winning this game in a shootout, 38-35. The Niners and the Redskins, I had the Niners winning this game 27-10. Not a lot to say about not a lot to say on this game, but the Niners are the better football team. They're undefeated for a reason. They got an elite defense and a pretty good quarterback and 2 good running backs. We'll see what this Niners team can do this weekend, though. Not going to be much test for them. The Niners will win this game 27-10. Texans and Colts, I had the Colts winning this game. I know you're looking at the Texans and them beating Patrick Mahomes himself in Arrowhead on quote-unquote the loudest stadium on earth, coming from a Steelers fan. I don't believe that for a second. But nonetheless, I had the Colts winning this game. They're a well-coached, well-disciplined team. They've got a pretty good quarterback in Jacoby Brissett. They'll get the playmakers ball. They're going to run the ball down their throats. I don't think the Texans' D-line and linebackers can help hold Marlon Mack to likely a bad game. But we'll see what the Texans can do. This could be a good game, 1 o'clock game. I have the Colts winning this game, though, 28-21. Lions and Vikings. Lions coming off a heartbreaking loss last week versus the Packers. Obviously, the hands to the face call will be haunting them forever. Seems like maybe it'll be another Saints pass interference call. But nonetheless, I have the Vikings winning this game. They kind of found their groove. Whenever you play the Eagles, no offense, Andre, if you're listening to this, but it's kind of a good confident booster. As you know, the Eagles don't have the best defense, especially their secondary. Their secondary is atrocious. They haven't drafted well. We'll see what the Lions can do, but I do have the Vikings winning this game 30-21. The Jags and Bengals, 2 relevant teams. Bengals don't need to talk about. Jags and Gardner Minshew had his little test last week with the Saints. He kind of failed that. He's still young, though. He's still a rookie. We'll see what he can do. I do have him pulling out this game in a nail-biter, 17-10 on the road in Cincinnati. The Cardinals and Giants have the Giants winning this game. Obviously, they're getting star running back Saquon Barkley back. And this is going to help rookie Daniel Jones out a lot. In fact, Saquon, he's back, fantasy owners. He's back. And he's going to return to Saquon. That ankle sprain doesn't seem like it'll affect him a lot, but we'll see what Saquon and the Giants can do. I have the Giants beating the Cardinals in this game in a nail-biter, 32-28. Dolphins and Bills don't need to explain a lot on this. It's the Dolphins. Bills will win 28-6. Chargers and Titans. I have the Chargers winning 24-17. Titans are starting Ryan Tannehill, and you know how that will go. He'll surprise you 1 week, and the next week he'll score 0 points. Cough, cough, Marcus Mariota. But new starter might give the Chargers defense struggling, but we'll see what happens. I think Phillip Rivers will have an okay game, but it'll be enough to beat the Titans in this game, 24-17. Seahawks and Ravens. I have the Seahawks winning this game at home, 31-21. Seahawks have been on a tear lately. Russell Wilson is tearing up the league. Seahawks defense is good with Jadeveon Clowney, Bobby Wagner. We'll see what the Seahawks can do. And Baltimore really hasn't faced anyone that great. Haven't impressed me yet, but we'll see what they can do. But I think the Seahawks will win this game 31-21. Saints and Bears. I have the Bears winning this game 26-14. This is in Chicago. It's a tough place to play. It's going to be cold down there in Chicago, especially with the Saints playing in the dome. That may affect them. But great defense. Khalil Mack will be in Teddy Bridgewater's face most of the game. But I do have the Bears offense being good enough to win this game 26-14. Cowboys and Eagles. I have this game being a high-scoring game. I have this game being 42-31. The Cowboys will win. The Cowboys offense have been explosive this year. A couple boo-boos the past 3 weeks, but I do think they come back on track, especially with the struggling Eagles secondary I just talked about. Patriots and Jets, don't need to talk a lot about this. You guys already know about the Patriots. 28-10, the Pats will win. Little hot takes for you guys. Kyle Allen will start over Cam, and what do I think about this? I think you ride the hot hand. I talked about it on Tuesday's podcast. Don't watch that if you haven't heard that yet. It's going to be in below you guys if you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever the hell you're listening to it on. It's gonna be below you probably. If I'm not, don't check me on this one. But I think you got the hot hand. I don't think throwing an injured QB with injury problems and kind of messing up this groove the Panthers were on will not be the best decision from Ron Rivera, but it's not my call at the end of the day. I do think Kyle Allen should start over Cam, as Cam has been struggling this year. My second hot take for you guys is Zion Williamson will develop a shot, but he still won't be that good. Zion, the biggest thing of him in the draft process is, does he have a shot? I mean, he shot well in college, but his form, he doesn't have dribble and then shoot ability. He's kind of got to be wide open. In the NBA, they don't leave you wide open a lot. They're up on you, but we'll see what can happen from Zion Williamson. There's going to be guys as big as him. He'll try and beat him with athleticism, but athleticism can only take you so much. You got to be big, and it's not college anymore, Zion. You're in the big boy league. But my third hot take will be Lonzo Ball wins Comeback Player of the Year. Lonzo Ball has all the traits. He is a good passer. He's big. He's strong. He's fast. He's going to be next to Zion Williamson himself, so they're going to have a couple good lobs this season. Just needs to develop a shot, and then he'll be a great point guard on that Pelicans team. We'll see what can happen from Lonzo Ball this year. My fourth and final hot take is Dak gets paid the big bucks Monday afternoon after the Sunday win versus the Eagles, $35 million and up. Dak Prescott's got to be paid sooner than later. Jerry's gonna try and push his buttons to make this magic work. Colin Cowherd explained it well. They have a hard schedule coming up, but you got to pay the man. You got to give him the money he wants. He's led you to a couple straight playoff appearances, but we'll see what the Cowboys will do. But they got to win versus the Eagles first, which will be a hard game. But that's going to wrap it up, guys. Great podcast, guys. Got to thank my supports in Scout Witty, Bill Witty, Kate Witty, Aiden, and all my brothers, aunts, uncles, and cousins. But thank you so much for listening, guys. And I'll see you Tuesday, and enjoy the games. And most importantly, go blue.